So to talk about my Los Angeles Lakers, just give you an overview. I'm going to be talking about the season against the series against Phoenix and what our future might hold and like what I would like for our future. So to talk about the season, I have to start by reminding you all that we were champions last season. Our 17th, making us the greatest organization in all of basketball. Um, but what came with that, with COVID and the bubble and trying to get the season to be as long as it, like, in its normal time, um, the Lakers and the Miami Heat, more than anyone, had an extremely short off season, a month and a half. And I sure it's an excuse that I could make, but you can't ignore it with LeBron and AD getting out, like being hurt during the season. We started off amazing. First, second seed, we were right there with Utah, and then LeBron and AD went out, and it just went to hell. We just kept losing, and we dropped to the seventh, like we are now. But like, so at first you could tell like we were doing great, and the team, like the new players adjusted well with Bron and AD. But after they went out, they had to readjust to not being with them, and then they finally came back right at playoff time, so they were forced to readjust. Which, I mean, obviously, like that was the right thing to do, obviously, but it wasn't. We needed more time. We needed that time to readjust, and it showed. Because first of all, especially we got Drummond new. Drummond hadn't played a game with AD and LeBron before that, so it's the rotations. We didn't know what to do, so like adjustments were tough. So that's why we barely saw Trez playing, and then at the last game we didn't even see Drummond play in the playoffs. So this segues into the playoff series. The first game, I was pulling my hair out, I was biting my nails, whatever, and I was so worried, I was so mad. But then I remembered last season, how last playoffs we went against the Blazers, we lost game one. We went against Houston, we lost game one. We went against Denver and we lost game one, and it was the same thing. I was pulling my hair out. I was extremely worried. I thought we were fake and bogus. And then we came back. We adjusted. We made those adjustments, and we came back. So game one, sure, we lost and whatever. But I knew after seeing that, I knew we would be back, and that was the case. Game two, we came out. AD knew to be more aggressive. We made those adjustments, and he got to the line, and he dropped 30, whatever, and we were clicking, and we got it done on the defensive end. We kept the Suns to like 92 points or something like that. And we were doing things right. And then third game came, and we were just on all cylinders. We were just going. And AD, he wasn't even getting to the line now. He was just killing it. LeBron was doing his thing. Our shooters were making their shots. We were playing defense. We kept them in the 90s again. And then, but the issue was, like, I was having a lot of fun watching it and whatnot, and it was like a happy time. The thing was, it was too happy. So coming into game 4, so we're up 2-1 now in the series. Going into game 4, we started off just as hot, whatever, but issue was you could tell the Suns made their adjustments as well. They knew to come back and fight, and that's what they were doing. We went up by a good amount early, but then they were coming back. They were fighting, and you could tell we were too complacent, and they came back, and they took the lead by a little bit, and then AD went out. AD got hurt. And then, yeah, everything went straight downhill. It was a landslide. We lost by double digits, I'm pretty sure, in game 4, and then so now we're tied 2-2. And then game 5, I don't even want to talk about it. That was just ugly. That's when I came out, and I had to say, like, I honestly, in game 5, I'm better than all those. Game 5, Lakers, I'm better than every player with the exception of LeBron. LeBron was doing his thing. He was getting them open. That's the way he plays, and he has to pass it because that's the way he plays. And they were just bricking everything. Everything was, God, man. I don't want to think about that game any more than I already have. Game 6, they're up 3-2, of course, at this point, and we started off just as horrible as Game 5. They went up, the first quarter was 37-14. Horrible defense and horrible offense by us. It just couldn't get any worse. But going into the second quarter, it wasn't bad. It was just the defense more than anything that was insane. The Game 6, I was watching it, and I literally pulling my hair out, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. You could ask my brothers. It was disgusting, man. We were not getting back in transition. We were leaving guys wide open. People like Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, who turned it on, and Booker, bro. We just let him get hot, and he just didn't stop. So, yeah, our defense was, we didn't want it. It was Game 5 and Game 6 more than anything. It looked like we were some fake bubble team, whatever. Even though, like, that's an argument for another day. Even though our championship was legit. That's all I'll say for that, for now. But in terms of, we just didn't want it. We didn't want to win. The Suns wanted to win. They were clicking, they were making their shots. The role players were working, and they were getting back, and they were playing defense. They were making it impossible for LeBron, and they were making it impossible for the Lakers. And that's when great players shine. They outshine great defense or whatnot. But then it was worse, man. We weren't boxing out. We were helping when help wasn't needed. Yeah, and then there was a little bit of some soft calls that were going only strictly Phoenix's ways, but that was, I'm not worried about that. It was more on us than anything else, so I won't complain about the refs. So going on, this leads me into the second half of the Suns game, that Game 6. Finally, Schroeder turned it on, and he started working. He started being a workhorse like we needed him to, and then he started making shots. That's when you know this is what basketball is. It's all about energy, grit, and mentality, bro. You need that. Your mindset has to be there. You have to want it. You have to want it, because once you want it, even if you're killing yourself defensively and you're tired as hell, you will somehow come out on the other side of the floor and do your thing on that side of the floor, because you're in it. Now you're in it. The other way around, you're just on one side of the floor, you're doing your thing, but on the other side, you're just slugging around. It just doesn't work that way. You're killing it on both sides of the floor. That's the way it ends up happening. We were making our comeback. We were doing well, but Booker, man, he just kept making his shots. Chris Paul started making his shots towards the end. And they just made it too difficult for us to come back because they were making us pay with the role players. The role players kept making those threes and those easy buckets that we needed to be making all series long. And then what happened was it was too late. It was a little too late. We could have done it, but then to my last point with the series, freaking LeBron, man. There was 3 minutes left. Yeah, we were down by 13. I understand 13 in 3 minutes is nothing easy at all. It's tough as hell, but come on, man. We're free. We're going home if we don't win this game. And he just stopped. He didn't get a call. Yeah, I'll admit he wasn't getting a lot of calls in the series, which he should have been getting. I can't stand when people say LeBron gets all the calls he wants. The Lakers, no, we don't. It's the complete opposite. You guys are just haters. Yeah, he wasn't getting his calls, but what the hell, man? Like, I couldn't see it. They didn't show the replay. Jay Crowder blocked him, I guess, but it looked like a foul. He was definitely in the right position. And then he just went to complain to the ref and just stopped. It was a 4v5. And then when he finally, after like 3 minutes of him taking his time walking down the floor, you just see him walking. He stopped. I'm not exaggerating at all. Even my brother Bilal, who loves LeBron to death, favorite player of all time, whatever, he had no words. He was like, what? You could tell. I looked at him. He was like, screw this. Like, what the hell's LeBron doing? Yeah, that was embarrassing about LeBron. That was completely despicable in basketball. That's despicable, man. I couldn't believe it. I got up and left. I couldn't take it anymore, so I got up and left. And yeah, that was ugly, man. And that crap, man. The goal. I don't care, bro. I don't care that you're 36 years old. I don't care that your ankle is never going to be 100% ever again. Like, you don't give up like that. That's a mentality. Sure, whatever. You're not performing like you used to when you were 25, whatever. But you're still the best player in the world, man. You're LeBron James. You can't give up in front of all these young heads, bro. It just doesn't work that way. It's not basketball. So yeah, that got me tight, and that's how our season ended, man. So what's our future looking like? I'm hearing some rumors about Beal or Dame coming to the Lakers. I would love Dame more than anything because he's a reliable as hell shooter, and LeBron wouldn't have to be as aggressive anymore. It would work perfectly for him. Um, yeah, he wouldn't have to work as much. It's not a backseat. He'd still be our point guard essentially, and he would just make Dame better than he ever was, and AD would still do his thing down low. Um, yeah, but that's just rumor, so I can't push on that. And other than that, going into our players, I love Kuzma to death, man. It's so hard for me to say, but I guess it's time. Guess it's time. Even though he signed a new deal. And then I love Marcus Gasol's grit at the end, that last game. But that was just the last game. All season long, I thought it was garbage, and I was so happy with the Drummond trade. Drummond's got to step up. I'm fine with him staying. Trez is a beast. I want him to stay. KCP is a beast on both sides of the floor. He's doing it. Caruso choked for sure offensively in this playoff series, and somewhat defensively. But I like Alex. He's a beast. Alexander, and well, Schroeder. And we expected Schroeder to be better than Rondo. He was no playoff Rondo, I'll tell you that much, man. He was the complete opposite. Rondo definitely the better last season than Schroeder did this season. But, I mean, fine, I guess, bring him back. But if we're paying money, nah, man. Nope. Who else we got? I mean, the rest of nobodies. Yeah, so, keeping it real. Sucks to keep it real, but keeping it real.